solid. Weighs about 10, 12 pounds more than he did when he fought Larry Holmes a couple of years ago. More than he did when he fought Pinkland Thomas. I don't know whether that weight means anything to him, whether it's significant or not.
Common opponents, probably insignificant. You can see they had virtually the same results against Greg Page, Bone Crusher Smith, and Jerry Williams, almost identical. So there's really little to choose between these two.
And here is HBO's Punch Stat, our little toy that will give us a quantitative rather than a qualitative profile of the fight. You can see how many punches Tony Tubbs threw in some recent fights. In the fight against Miller, that was a 2-round knockout. And here are the jabs he throws. Although he has wonderfully fast hands, he doesn't always throw a lot of jabs, as you can see. And here is Tim Witherspoon. He throws more punches usually, but his fight against James Broad was also a 2-round knockout, so you have to throw that out. So generally, Witherspoon throws 40, 45 punches, and the other man throws 35 Tubbs. And here are the number of jabs. Again, this is just quantitative, not qualitative.
Here are the rules for the fight. 10-point must system. 3 judges will score the fight. There is not a standing 8 count, and the only time that you can be saved by the bell is in the final round. The 3 knockdown rule, as is the WBA rule, will be in effect. Right now, let's go up to the ring announcer, Brad Nessler, for the pre-fight introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the magnificent Omni in Atlanta, Georgia. Tonight, Don King Productions, in association with the Omni, bring you King's Dream, a heavyweight boxing extravaganza. We ask that you now all rise and join our own Isaac Hayes for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's bouts are sanctioned by the Georgia Boxing Commission in conjunction with the World Boxing Association. Members of the Georgia Boxing Commission at ringside with us: Asa Gordon, Carol Clark, Lindsey Rouse Jr., James Freeman, and Georgia Boxing Commission Chairman Lanny Franklin. Our judges for our main event at ringside, from Maryland, Harry Cencini. Judge number 2 from Arizona, Robert Ferrara. And our third judge from New Jersey, Edward Woods. Our timekeeper is Barry Richardson. Our knockdown timer is Kevin Corcoran. Our doctor at ringside, Dr. Jack Burge. Our referee and third man in the ring for this main event from Illinois, Nate Morgan. Our main event scheduled for 15 rounds for the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the World. First in the red corner from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, wearing blue trunks with white trim. He tipped the scales at 227 pounds. His record, 23 wins, 2 losses, 16 victory by knockout. Former world champion and current North American Boxing Federation heavyweight champ, He's ranked number 3 by the WBA. Welcome, terrible Tim Witherspoon. And in the blue corner, out of Cincinnati, Ohio, wearing white trunks with gold and black trim, he weighed in at 244 pounds. His record, 22 victories, no losses, 15 wins by knockout. The undefeated WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Tony TNT Tubbs.
And Tubbs getting the early crowd support here, it seems. Morgan, the referee. 15 years ago, Barry, you and I were here. Hold on here.
I will add, I'm going to let you guys fight as long as both your hands are free. When you're tired up, give me a clean break at all times and a clean fight. Shake hands now and good luck to you both.
15 years ago, we were both here for that fantastic event. Ali coming out of exile to fight Gerrie. I look in this fight for Tubbs not to use his jab as much early in the fight, but to try to stay inside the wide swinging punches of Witherspoon. That's what a good boxer would do.
Round 1, and we will see the pace of this fight early. It starts up very up-tempo.
Right away, Tim Witherspoon went at Tony Tubbs. I'm sure he wants to keep that pressure going, knowing fully well, or assuming fully well, that Tubbs can't maintain the movement. Because Tubbs trying to be elusive. Tubbs, the best he has going for him, there's beautiful hands, quick hands, beautiful combinations. Witherspoon, a very tenacious fighter, very physical fighter.
Getting a good look at this round, incidentally, from our handheld cameras. We're going to try and stay on that as much as possible. You get a real close-up look as to just how this fight is going. Tubbs going downstairs.
See, the reason I was criticizing the excess weight of Tony Tubbs is the fact that to fight a guy like Witherspoon, you need mobility. You have to be able to utilize the ring and keep moving.
And despite the fact that Tubbs is not one who really enjoys the rigors of training, he has been effective in later rounds. Both men looking to the body in the first round.
Keeping those hands high, Witherspoon.
Right hand in close by Tim Witherspoon.
First round, very physical fight. Both guys just trying to initiate that respect and dictate the tempo of the fight. So far, they're even.
And again, Witherspoon going downstairs. Tubbs has been content to do that for the better part of this round as well. Good body shot by Tubbs.
Tubbs uses movement to get out of the way of those bombs thrown by Tim Witherspoon. I just want to see how long you keep this up.
It's only the first round, but you really have a feeling that conditioning might become a very important part of this fight.
Good round now. Good round.
A pretty intense round.
Neither fighter did any real damage. Okay? Go to the right. Okay, I want you to throw a jab at his right there and make it very right. Put down on that right hand to the belly, come out to the left hook to the head, okay? The right hand to the belly and the left hook to the head, okay? Right behind the guard. Okay? Got it? Taking your right. You want that round big.
All right,
okay?
wait. Give me tongue one
You're
more
working
time.
just like the script now. is Tim Witherspoon.
Ain't even keep that jab in his face, okay? Because you out jabbing him when you do jab, okay? You can't out jab you, okay? You touch him with that jab. Touch him with that jab. Then you go with the right hand. Hit him with the left hook to the body. Then you can go on top. Okay, there we go, David.
That's Slim Jim Robinson, his trainer, talking.
Slim Jim Robinson, who has been called by some Tim Witherspoon's greatest asset. He engineered the near win over Larry Holmes.
A very fast-paced first round for both fighters.
It was a good shot by Witherspoon that backed Tubbs up against the ropes.
In fact, Witherspoon is much more the quicker starter, whereas at Tubbs utilizes the ring a great deal. There's a good left jab. But that first round, both fighters went at it. Downstairs, Witherspoon started to work the body.
Witherspoon starting up and then going down.
I wouldn't be surprised if Witherspoon stayed downstairs a couple of rounds and just to slow down Tubbs. Because I doubt very seriously if Tubbs could carry that weight for 15 rounds. Good jab, good left jab by Tony Tubbs.
Okay, you're tied up. Come on, you're tied up. Come on. Okay, all right. Come on.
Good counter punch to the body by Tubbs, who now opens up Witherspoon a little bit.
You saw the hand speed of Tony Tubbs.
Good fight here, what referee Dave Morgan said to Tony Tubbs.
Okay, stand on it. Stand on it. Okay, you're tied up. Come on, you're tied up.
A very intense fight.
Okay, come on now.
Both fighters are really starting to get frustrated with each other.
A really up-tempo for a 15-round fight between two guys this big. Crowd here at the Omni, incidentally, really into this fight.
Oh yeah, because I'm sure these guys, both guys have been talking for the past week or so.
And as we mentioned at the top of the show, this fight does have an added significance now. It's almost a case of sudden death because the loser is going to be out of the hunt. Tim Witherspoon breathing through his mouth, but he has done that historically. He's done it in every fight we've seen him in.
Which is a bad habit.
Tubbs got to stay closer to Witherspoon in that round than in the first round, and I believe he thinks that he has the quicker hands at close quarters.
Step to the right and maybe reach out to the wild left hook. Get on and bang him to the body, okay?
Here's a replay of slow-mo.
You saw the wild right hand by Witherspoon, but he came back with a nice left to the body. And then Tubbs let loose with this salvo of punches.
Next time he's back up. And he's leaning to your left.
And here are the number of punches that Tubbs has thrown through the 2 rounds, landing about a third. This is about his average, actually.
Right for the right hand.
Witherspoon has thrown a few more, and he's landed a higher percentage. Again, that is not a qualitative analysis, it's a quantitative analysis. Speaking again about the fact that Witherspoon keeps that mouth open. It's a bad habit because you asking for a busted lip or either broken jaw. Keep that mouth shut. See the experience in Tubbs? He was able to spin Witherspoon.
Yeah, just a note about experience, as a matter of fact. Even though They've had a comparable amount of professional fights. Tony Tubbs had 120 amateur fights, and Tim Witherspoon had 6.
I think what compensates Witherspoon's inexperience as far as an amateur boxer was the fact his strength, his own physical strength, and great body. Key for Tubbs is to hit, make his man miss, to be a counter puncher, get his punches in, and then get outside.
Tubbs had 120 amateur fights. Make that 253 amateur fights.
That's a lot of fights. I had only 160. Good jab, stiff jab by Witherspoon.
And a good left hand by Tubbs coming back. So both men scoring heavily here. And again.
Tubbs tried to go to the body. In fact, he was successful, but he was caught by a left hook by Witherspoon. Both men are really thinking of him. At times, Tubbs tried to utilize his boxing skill, but then all of a sudden, Witherspoon cuts the ring off, so he has to fight. So now, at this point, he's fighting Witherspoon's fight. Inside, street fight.
Tubbs kind of retreating here, getting himself on the ropes, now fights off them. Witherspoon counter-punching very well. He ducked all of Tubbs' punches and came back with his own.
You're talking good punches, good defense, good offense.
Stay down the stomach, Tim. Gotta stay downstairs.
You're doing all right, Jim. You're doing all right, Jim. All right. All right. Keep him back in the ball away, that's all.
You think he's slowing down?
All right, yes, he is.
He's slowing him down.
Great slowing him down, Tim.
Don't punch up just a little bit, okay? Huh? Keep the left hand up just a little bit.
Hit him a little bit more, too. All right.
Okay.
Find that back. Okay, keep to that body. Working to the body. You're doing good. When you step out there, come out with your hands up. Okay? To the right. With your hands up.
Still relaxing. Look for your good shot. Open that. All right, look for your good shot.
Okay? You won every round. Okay? All right. That's the right. Don't get excited.
This has the makings of a long, grueling fight in which the last third of the fight probably will determine the outcome. A lot of good body punches so far in the first 3 rounds, Ray.
A lot of body shots, a lot of vicious shots thrown, more so by Witherspoon. Tubbs was throwing body shots, liver shots, but I think the most effective shots were thrown by Witherspoon.
Once again, you saw a pretty good counter-punching right hand by Witherspoon.
Good jab. And he has Tubbs to keep that up. But I'm afraid that Witherspoon's not letting it. He's starting to crowd him now. Staying on top of him.
Witherspoon's corner told him to bring the left hand up just a little bit.
Witherspoon is still really trying to crowd Tubbs, mainly because it's a good move, because you won't allow the boxer any punching room. So staying close to him doesn't allow him to get his punches off. Back to the body.
Witherspoon is dictating the tempo of the fight so far. In Tubbs' quarter between rounds, they said, you won the first 2. I'm not real sure, first 3 I should say, I'm not real sure they were right. Tony Tubbs shaking that right hand.
Go. All right. Okay, fight your way out of it. Fight out of it.
Once again, Witherspoon just pressing the fight.
Get up. Okay, come on. When you see it,
Witherspoon to stand downstairs, but he's throwing one punch. He needs to throw like that, like Tubbs did. Put both hands together. Work on both sides of the body. And again, a good counter-punching right hand by Tim Witherspoon. Took two, but he gave one that was better, and another good right hand. This is a serious fight here. Punching after the bell, and Nate Morgan finally breaks him up. Witherspoon's hot. So's the crowd.
You take him on good. Don't get challenged. Take him to right. Okay? Okay?
One thing you can say clearly here is that both fighters are trying to hurt the other guy. They're putting a lot of passion into their punches. How effective they are remains to be seen. There's Witherspoon throwing two not too effective punches. He throws long punches. They're not paralyzing punches. They're not punches that make a guy feel he's out of there. But they're hard punches, nevertheless. That was Witherspoon's best exchange of that round.
They come to the fifth round. Great crowd here at the Omni. They've really been into the fight right from the opening bell.
They're for both fighters. One thing you have to really appreciate in Tony Tubbs, he has that natural talent. He has a gift. Very fast hands for a heavyweight, for a big man.
I have to say that he doesn't really look appreciably bigger than he was the last time I saw him at 229. I realize he's 17 pounds bigger, but 15 pounds bigger, but he really doesn't look that much bigger.
Tony Tubbs is quite deceiving because there is no definition in his body, yet his hand speed is really incredible. And the fact that he's able to put combinations together so well is another bit of amazement.
Tubbs drop both hands and back up. Once again, Tony Tubbs trying to go downstairs. Witherspoon headhunting a little bit more.
Double left jab, right hand to follow by Tony Tubbs. Again, both men are doing what they do best. Witherspoon working inside, really staying the aggressor and trying to work the body, being very physical. Tony Tubbs, on the other hand, is using his hand speed, using his jab, using his combination, scoring points. A couple times he tried for the knockout. But I don't think he possessed the power to knock his man out early. The stinging jab.
Tubbs short with both of those, very short with both of those. That's a good right hand by Witherspoon. Might have been the best punch of the fight.
It caught Tubbs on the side of the head. Those type of punches, especially if you're hit by a puncher, can daze you.
Tubbs finally gets himself off the ropes. for second.
Punch your way out of it. Come on, fight out of it. Come on, fight out of it. Fight out of it.
Right hand by Tubbs, but Witherspoon didn't go away.
Now you may see some combinations here by Tubbs. I think he waited for, or he tried to wait for Witherspoon to punch himself out. I counted about 10 or 12 hard body punches by Tubbs in that round. That's a lot of hard body punches in a round, Ray. Especially by a big man. That's a great deal of body shots. You don't see that sometimes in an entire fight.
Isaac Hayes, Ray Perkins,
There's Muhammad Ali. Ali celebrating his 44th birthday today. Believe it or not, he sparred 8 rounds with Tim Witherspoon on Monday, sparred 52 rounds in the last couple of weeks with various heavyweights.
King again. King again is done. On HBO, stand for Home Boxing Organization. Will begin in April sometime.
Michael Spinks.
That was also Dominique Wilkins, one of the fine talents in the NBA, sitting alongside Larry Holmes. And in April, Michael Spinks and Larry Holmes for the IBF Heavyweight Championship. A lot of fights to look forward to here on HBO. March 22nd, of course. Pinklin Thomas, Trevor Berbick. And then in April, Holmes Spinks. And tonight, pretty good go so far.
And all the heavyweight contenders are eagerly just awaiting the verdict of this fight, the outcome, because they are waiting for an opportunity to go for the big bucks, the big title.
Very tactical fight so far. This is the 6th round. We're going 15.
Damaging left jab then to stop Witherspoon in his tracks. I noticed that Tony Tubbs attempts to throw that uppercut. That's a very dangerous move, especially inside the way his body's positioned. Because by dropping that right hand to throw that uppercut, he's liable to be hit by a short left hook. And Witherspoon has that. There is the left hook. Short. A little short.
Okay, all right.
Tubbs throwing combinations. Counter-punching right hand by Tubbs.
He caught Tubbs was able to catch Witherspoon in the motion of throwing a punch.
Okay, you're caught up. Come on, get on.
Witherspoon does not appear to be quite as sharp with his punches as he was earlier.
Well, now, because those first couple rounds were very fast-paced rounds. You may notice a lot of arm punches being thrown now. They both are waiting for their second win.
Okay, punch your way out.
Conditioning plays a major role around this point of the fight now, between the 6th, 7th, and 8th round.
Okay, you're caught up. Come on, don't hold it. All right, come on, let's go.
Coming down to the end of the 6th round.
Okay, come on, keep your punches up there.
I thought that was Tubbs' best round. I don't know if this is a clear-cut trend yet, but I sense in the last few rounds that Tubbs is beginning to dominate a little bit with his skill.
That was better. You understand what I mean?
Okay.
Tony.
Right behind that jab, I want you to start setting down a little bit more harder and harder with the right hand.
Look at that. I'm talking about you down
Right up to the head, okay? Don't back, bring up. Give me boxing good. Okay?
How's your mouth?
You outsmarting him. All right? You're hitting him with all kinds of shots that you want to hit him with. Stay relaxed.
There was a good right hand at close quarters by Witherspoon. And a right to the stomach, right back
to the body
from the champion.
Lay down there.
Who knows, maybe if Tony Tubbs trained real seriously, it would inhibit him. It might frazzle him. He's one of those guys who just can't train.
He's a gamer. Football, that'd be a gamer, right? Round number 7. Both corners extremely confident that their man is doing it exactly right so far. There's a good left hand by Tubbs. Tubbs content to fight on the ropes occasionally, right?
Well, he is, really somewhat elusive because he's able to, has very good upper body movement. So I think he's, feels quite content against the ropes at times.
And you heard Tubbs' corner say, don't step straight back. They want their man in close.
Well, they don't want him stepping straight back because what's happening is creating momentum for the tank-like fighter and Witherspoon because he's moving straight ahead. Need to give him angles, lateral movement. Side to side. This is the perfect, the classic boxing confrontation, boxing against the punch. That body shot seemed like it folded over Tony Tubbs just then.
Witherspoon with a good body shot there. It's one of those fights you have the feeling could be won or lost in the corner.
Both fighters stand to the body.
That punch was caught largely on the arms.
Ripping body shots by Witherspoon. He's going for the additional midsection. Those love handles he's going for.
Of damaging shots by both men to the midsection.
Tubbs can't stand straight up after he finished throwing a combination because that left hook off by Witherspoon is very, very powerful. This is trying to be a great fight.
Okay, let's go. Come on. Get your hands up, baby. Watch your shot.
Two punches to the body and then one to the head by Tubbs. Good hand speed.
Okay, fire out of it.
And these guys are not letting up.
Well, the pace of the fight has been very quick. It's been fought at close quarters almost all the way. I don't think fatigue is any kind of a factor at this juncture.
Again, not an exciting fight, not a dramatic fight, but a very rugged, grueling fight. They're landing a lot of hurting punches in close.
Got over right hand behind that jab, okay? Okay. All right? You ready to go? You ready to go? Okay? Put the straight right hand. You got off the jab, if you hide his chin, put the straight right hand to the body, comes off the left hook. And if you do,
Here's a sequence, a good left and a good right by Tubbs driving Witherspoon into the ropes. Witherspoon will fight off the ropes. Right there, a left that's high, good right to the body.
all the body into it. Okay, make a turn with the right hand and inside.
Jump on a little bit. Jump on a little bit.
We're going to see soon, Ray, whether the body punches are going to take a serious toll on one or the other fighter.
Well, that's what I'm waiting for, because those shots, body shots, have been thrown by both men, and neither fighter has let up yet.
I'm almost sure I heard Slim Jim Robinson in Witherspoon's corner say he's ready to go, which I find pretty hard to believe. Or perhaps it was in Tubbs' corner.
That might be a little premature because Witherspoon seems to be very strong at this point here. They also told him to change the pace, change the tempo. We need to pick things up or slow things down. I don't think he can pick it up any faster. There, Tubbs gave a wink to his corner.
Good right hand by Witherspoon that time.
I guess trying to let them know that everything's under control.
Sort of a Tony Tubbs version of rope-a-dope here. He's just got the elbows tucked in.
I mean, both fighters know exactly how to execute a body shot. They're putting their weight behind it, getting the leverage behind it. And also, Tubbs appears to know exactly how to finish every meal. But I'm really surprised to see him at this weight. I mean, to be champion, advantage plays a major part in your life and in your career.
There is no truth to the rumor there'll be a lunch break after the 10th round, though.
Look at now Tubbs coming back to life. I mean, both guys, this shows you both guys are in fantastic shape.
Again, it's a very tactical fight. Tubbs has been on the ropes and letting Witherspoon take his best shots, taking most of them on the shoulders and the elbows. Coming out of it when he does in flurries.
There's the left jab. And the right hand to follow.
And a good left hand sends Tubbs into the ropes. It was a straight left hand.
Both feet are together of Tubbs. Now he uses his weight. Maybe that's why he's putting additional weight. To withstand the power of Witherspoon. But that left hook really had him in trouble for a second there. Some of those right hands are starting to get through. Not clean, but the fact they're starting to land.
That was a good, clean shot.
I'll be able to tell whether or not that punch seriously hurt Tubbs as he walked back to his corner. See if his legs are steady.
He's got 10 seconds to get through round number 8.
Come on,
This is a very, very hard fight to judge. After 8 rounds, I have it dead even. I could be 8 rounds off.
Okay? You understand that?
Okay. When a fighter moves forward the way Witherspoon does, he always gets the benefit of the doubt.
understand what I mean? Get your head up. Okay?
Now there's 2 lefts in the right and a left downstairs, and Witherspoon followed with a left hook, and that's been the big surprise I found in this fight, Ray. He hasn't been known for the left hook. I think Slim Jim Robinson has been working on the left hook with him because he expects that Tubbs would be looking for that long right.
He's starting to work.
He's okay. You're all right.
Okay?
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Stop picking up. Get him up. Look it out. Grab over that chair.
Well, I don't know, Ray. He did not go back on steady legs at the end of that round.
No, he walked back and there was like a delay in his steps. He was instructed from the corner to pick it up again. Well, he tried to pick it up and he was hurt by left hook, a short left hook by Witherspoon. Talking about Slim Jim Robinson, he's a great asset to the camp of Witherspoon because apparently he's showing him something that he wasn't using before in his career. That he has 2 hands and both fists carry dynamite.
And again, against the ropes is Tubbs taking punishment from Tim Witherspoon.
Not much movement from Tubbs. Could be 1 or 2 things, indication that that additional luggage he's carrying is starting to take his toll, or he's just trying to wait for Witherspoon to punch himself out.
Witherspoon giving not much indication of that. Lost a little sharpness along about the 5th round, but he's come back rather effectively in the last couple.
Well, you'll notice when Witherspoon is able to either rock Tubbs' adrenaline starts flowing, he gets become more aggressive. The other thing applies to Tony Tubbs.
Neither man is marked. We're in the 9th round.
Those hands should be up Tubbs. Witherspoon has that looping right hand, and he puts a lot of body behind him. You see that he's swayed away from the right hand of Tubbs.
Witherspoon counterpunching effectively with the left hand.
Once again, back to the body.
Okay, punch your way out of it.
You know, both these fighters not really throwing punches now. They're taking a breather here.
Chopping right hand, and Witherspoon comes back with another combination.
The interesting thing about the heavyweight division, and it intrigues me, it exchange hands so many times. One guy's champion for a few days or a few months, and the next thing you know, you find a new champion.
So far, both these guys looking better than I've ever seen either one of them look.
Well, they both prepared themselves mentally, physically, and waiting.
March 22nd, as you mentioned earlier, more heavyweight championship boxing here on HBO, becoming the heavyweight network. Pinklin Thomas versus Trevor Berbick. That's Saturday, March 10th, 10 o'clock Eastern. We'll be live. Larry Merchant, Sugar Ray Leonard, myself, Barry Tompkins will be on hand for that one.
Legs a little bit more.
We winning this shit.
Huh?
We winning this.
Make sure. Right, that's what
Watching Witherspoon, I wonder,
smoke on him, okay?
can a man learn how to play the trumpet when he's 21 years old? I mean, he started to fight when he was 21, and it's not easy being in there with someone who started when he was a teenager. But he's mature in terms of his approach to what's going on here, and so that we have a battle in a sense between will and skill.
Round number 10. Tough fight.
I see a fairly even fight, although Witherspoon has come on a couple rounds, so giving him a slight edge. But we're far from finish here.
Okay, come on. All right. Don't hold it on.
Witherspoon still looks fresh. Maybe the fresher of the two right at the moment. Good body shot by Witherspoon. Witherspoon talking to Tony Tubbs now, just saying, come on, come on.
Yes, because he wants him to get closer, so he'll fight his fight. Tubbs will continue to stay on the outside at this point and throw his little body shots. There, those liver shots. After he throws his left hook, he comes back with the left jab to keep his man at bay. Now we're back towards the corner.
Might be fought more at long range in this round than it has at any other time. telling him again to keep the punches up.
Okay, come on.
Punching left hand by Witherspoon, the better of that exchange.
What's been working for Tubbs has been the double left jab in the right hand, but he's always countered by the left hook at Witherspoon. So he needs to come back with some left hook after he finishes the right hand.
He's hauling low. The ref will start looking for it.
Okay.
You're talking about being in another ballpark.
Okay. You know what I want you to do? Do that double left hook, draw him inside. Okay. Do the double left hook and chop him down with the right hand. And overhand right, okay? Right behind the double left hook. Run to the body and bring him straight up. Put the jabs back. Hit him with the other hand. Okay?
Hard to believe he's only landed 38 of them.
How do you feel? Feels good, man.
You feel good. There's no problem behind
you. See shots that you need to take.
Yeah,
it's coming. It's coming.
All right. Don't get him. Take it. I love you. Okay?
We got 5.
We got 5 more rounds.
Can you start?
Okay?
Let's go, Chad. Let's go, Chad. Let's go, Chad. Let's go, Chad.
You want to use that double up hook on the top of the right hand, okay?
It's your thing, Chad.
That's the right.
Take a deep. Feel good. All right?
And there are Tim Witherspoon's totals, landing a higher percentage according to our statistics. I have Witherspoon slightly ahead at this point, 5-4-1.
A lot of support for Tony Tubbs in his corner. His handlers assuring their fighter that they're behind him. Telling him to get in close once again, and we'll see now if Tony Tubbs can do that. Witherspoon has started to dictate the tempo again over the last 3 rounds.
Okay, come on.
The power and the sound of those guys' body shots just echoes throughout the arena.
Witherspoon up on his toes right now, looking very fresh. This is the 11th round.
But Tubbs stayed in his corner. He told his guys that he feels great.
Okay, all right. Come on. Okay.
Witherspoon stay close to Tubbs from the very first round. This is also showing that Tubbs can fight inside too.
No damage really being done here. Again, it's been a tactical fight almost the entire way.
You're working with it. I'm hurt. All right. Come on, keep on.
Oh, there's a left hand by Tubbs.
Triple
Good
left
shot.
hook. Triple left hook.
Okay, all right.
Coming down to the end of the 11th round.
Witherspoon turning southpaw.
It's not Ali Frazier, but it's a rugged go.
Okay, you're working good, baby. This head is dog ass high.
You're going to have to open him up with the jab and put that right hand on him. Overhand right, just like you don't have. Tap him down. Okay? Okay? If he hide the hand, put the right hand to the body. Okay? You're doing beautiful. Beautiful. You're going right to square. Okay? Okay.
The trainer is Odell Hadley from California.
You're doing beautiful. All right? Yeah. Okay? You got double left hook, going to see you chopping down with the right hand. You put the hook behind it this time. Come on, make it sure. Okay. Come on. Hold up one, all right? He's trying to crowd you now. Take a step back. You know, watch him out. Come on. All right, get that stuff out of here. Get the bucket out.
This is round number 12. And it's still up for grabs, I think.
I would agree, because both fighters have really been working and throwing a lot of punches. Witherspoon has landed more effective shots.
12 rounds is as far as Tim Witherspoon has ever gone. We're in the 12th now.
But one thing is for sure, the additional weight does not slow the hand speed of opponent Tubbs. I really thought this would slow the movement of Tubbs.
Odell Hadley is saying that he wants him to come over the top with the right hand.
And when his left hand is up, to go to the body. And you have not seen that much movement from Tubbs. Tubbs normally uses his boxing skill. Here I think he's just using his experience and willing to exchange punch for punch inside with Tim Witherspoon.
Tubbs continues to try to dig downstairs.
Once again, Witherspoon has turned southpaw. And doing so, he has a tendency to confuse his opponent.
That's a left hand by Tubbs.
I don't know, it seemed like that left hook bothered Witherspoon or just made him mad.
Okay, all right. Come on. All right. Keep it punching.
It's a deeper water for Tim Witherspoon. He's left in 12. Has beyond 12 rounds. Maybe that's what Tubbs is waiting for.
The final 3 rounds.
But that would be a bad move.
Because Tubbs has only gone 15 rounds once also.
But he's tasted it.
Tubbs, in my judgment, has come on in the last few rounds, but it's still a very, very tough fight. I don't recall a fight where I've had as much trouble picking the winners of so many individual rounds.
Got to work this round. Got to work this round. You understand what I'm saying? Now, this is the championship round. Now, you got to win it. Okay? Now, let's go to work and see me take him out. Let's start setting out our shots to his chin. He done brought his hands down for you now. He's putting his chin on the platter. He done brought the chin now. Let's do it. This is what we're playing. Now, let's drown this punk. Okay? Okay, watch it. I want you to step down real good. That right hand to the chin. Take it home, baby. Okay? Bring him home now. Tony. Yeah. Okay? Start pushing. 3 more to go. Don't let him back up. Go forward. Bring him home.
Odell Hadley whipping his horse home.
Putting his chin on the platter was Odell's way of putting it. That means that he's got Witherspoon's head down. Now if he can just find the chin. Let's see if he can push the magic button here.
These 3 rounds, they say very important rounds. In fact, they are very important rounds. They don't want Tubbs to move straight back. They want him to move from side to side. Because normally judges give the edge to the aggressor. The guy who's making the fight.
Witherspoon has said himself that he's won a lot of fights because he is the aggressor. And he's done that in this fight also.
Witherspoon attacking the body once again.
Tubbs covering up, but most of those punches are being caught on the arms. That right hand was not caught on the arms, however.
Oh, beautiful shots. Those punches land. The left hook, the right hand were able to get through by Tim Witherspoon. Tubbs should use his combinations, use his hand speed, and build up some points.
Witherspoon, the harder puncher. I don't think there's any question about that. Tubbs, when he has knocked opponents out, has worn them down.
You notice there he had Witherspoon missing. That's the key to the fight for Tubbs.
Left hand just a little bit short by Witherspoon.
But every time that he makes Witherspoon miss, he should counter. Come back with something. There again, he made a miss. He needs to come back with something. Tubbs needs to counter.
And he has made his reputation as a counterpuncher.
Okay, fight your way out of it. Fight out of it.
2 more rounds to decide a winner.
And you have a feeling that those 2 rounds may decide the winner,
It's
too.
a tough fight to call at this point. A very difficult fight.
Witherspoon hammering on Tubbs, going downstairs and then upstairs at the bell.
Good head. You got to go to head. Come on. You got to go to work now, okay? Can you go forward? You close out. Okay. Can you go forward? Let's go forward. Listen, we close up with a good finish, okay? Come, you got to feel in our hustle like
Well, there you see the number of punches is starting to dwindle as the fight goes on. Although Witherspoon threw a lot of punches in that round.
You got this fucking fight won, Tim.
That was clearly Witherspoon's round. And here's the rally on the ropes as the round ended. There are 2 theories of scoring that are coming into conflict here. One, if the fight is this close, do you take the title away from the champion? And 2, if the fight is close, do you give it to the aggressor, which is the other guy?
The other guy, yes, it is.
It's tough. It's going to be in the eyes of the beholder, you have the feeling.
Well, Witherspoon's trying to get the eye of the fans here.
I sensed a little bit of concern in the corner of Tony Tubbs.
Just seconds before the end of the 13th round, Witherspoon was able to take that round because he stayed on top of Tubbs and threw a lot of punches. Tubbs trying to box now.
Saw those fight stat numbers a moment ago that in the last 3 rounds, Tim Witherspoon has thrown twice the amount of punches as Tony Tubbs. So if in fact the judges are looking for the aggressor, they have him. He's the guy in the blue trunks. And still he swarms over Tony Tubbs.
He's not giving him breathing room, not in the punching room. He's staying right in his chest.
All right.
See, normally Tubbs be moving. That additional weight has hurt him. is proven to be fatal for him.
Okay, come on. And a good right hand by Witherspoon, while Tubbs' corner screaming at him to go to the body. Left hand forces Tubbs back.
Tubbs needs to reach down at this point, Barry, because the title's starting to slip away from him. Yes, it is a close fight, but what's happening here is Witherspoon has been dominating just a little bit more. He's been far more aggressive in the later rounds than Tubbs. He's landing cleaner blows at this point than Tubbs.
Round now. This time Tubbs turns Witherspoon against the ropes, but is really unable to deal out any punishment.
Yes, it Tim Witherspoon and Tony.
And Slim Jim Robinson saying, if you knock him out, you don't have to worry about it.
That's always the best way to do things.
Okay, come on, get out of it.
I see a very concerned Tubbs corner.
Should be a most interesting decision. As they say, you got to take the title away from the champion, and Witherspoon has been aggressive, and as you mentioned the last round, Ray, particularly so in the late going.
And that's when it really counts, because the judges remember those last few seconds when you come back.
Witherspoon not holding anything back here, and Tubbs still seems unable just to get any real power on track.
Normally we see a Tubbs counter-punching, using that jab, using the hand speed. Here we see a Tubbs willing to fight inside, exchange punch for punch with a stronger opponent as Tim Witherspoon. Tubbs has been very susceptible to body shots, some vicious body shots.
All right, come on, all right, get out of it, get out of it, get out of it.
This round being fought in the middle of the ring. Halfway through the final round.
I'm sure both fighters will keep themselves up this fight. I'm sure that Witherspoon will be very, very pleased. I'm sure Tubbs will be quite disappointed because he fights better than this.
Okay, all right.
When Tubbs does punch, he seems to punch off his back feet too, back leg. Doesn't really seem to have the power. Tubbs doing more leading than punching here. Crowd has seen a very exciting fight, very interesting fight.
Difference a few additional rounds, few additional pounds can make on a fighter.
There's a good left hand by Witherspoon. And a right hand. There'll be no knockout in this one. I've given the fight to Witherspoon. And if he gets it, I say that he earned it. Both camps, of course, feel their man has won the fight. Witherspoon being lifted up on one side of the ring. Tony Tubbs, hands clasped over his head in a victory sign on the other side of the ring.
I would think that, I would say that Tubbs made this fight a lot more difficult than it could have been by putting on an additional weight. And this is what I always said, that fighters need to be more disciplined. You have an obligation to yourself and to the public to be in the best of shape when you enter these 4 squares, especially as champion.
Tough fight. Let's take a look at the way Tim Witherspoon ended this fight, Ray, and he ended it with some bombs.
Well, I think this is one of the reasons that Witherspoon should walk away with the decision. He stayed on top of Tubbs. He fought this way the entire fight, and Tubbs never really was on his toes, never really utilized what his boxing skill possessed, the good hand speed, the good left jab.
No doubt that Tim Witherspoon came in here, as you can see by the total punches thrown. He threw almost 130 punches more, 125 punches more than did Tony Tubbs. And he scored more effectively too, 43% to Tubbs' 38%. He forced the fight, and I think that's the bottom line.
Well, the statistics are quite surprising to see that the puncher punched more or threw more punches than the boxer, who possessed so much talent.
And so the decision still to come. Both camps pretty confident. That's the littlest Witherspoon. 15 rounds! Man is proud of himself of going 15 rounds. I think he has reason to do so. You can tell he came in here a fit fighter.
Well, tonight we saw a rejuvenated Tim Witherspoon, that saw an opportunity, took advantage of it.
Well, he learned by his mistakes. I don't think there's any question about that. He had Larry Holmes beat. He ran out of gas.
Well, the fact that once you had a perfect record and you lose, you can do one or two things to you. It either destroys you mentally and physically, or it makes you a better fighter.
We have a majority decision.
Split decision.
Judge Harry Cencini scores the fight 144-143. Judge Robert Ferrara scores the fight 143-143 even. Judge Edward Woods scores the fight 144-141 for the winner and new heavyweight champion of the world,
Tim Witherspoon has won it. And it was as close and as confusing as Larry Merchant had said he thought it would be. Hard-earned victory for the new champion. Tough loss for the old champion.
I thought that Witherspoon won the fight. I felt that he was aggressive, and I'm sure Tubbs should admit, or probably will admit, that he was not as serious or sincere about his training and as his career as he should have been. It cost him a title, it cost him money, it cost him recognition.
Larry Merchant is with Tony Tubbs. Let's
Renaldo Snipes! 10 rounds!
And again, Renaldo Snipes greeted by the crowd here in Tarrytown, New York. Renaldo hailing from nearby Yonkers as you look at the tail of the tape. And just about everything is even. Slight height advantage for Coetzee. The referee is Joe Cortez. The rules under the New York State Athletic Commission, 3 knockdown rule in effect. The referee and the 2 judges will score the bout. The judges today, Carol Castellano and the veteran Nick Campoli, in his 49th year in that capacity. Certainly the senior active judge, perhaps in the world, certainly in the United States at 84 years old. Scoring on a round basis, supplementary point system if there's a draw. Mandatory 8 count. The bell does not save the fighter unless it is the final round. Eddie Coetzee from Johannesburg, South Africa, ranked 6th by Ring Magazine, 24 undefeated with 13 knockouts against the 24-year-old Renaldo Snipes, now fighting out of Yonkers, New York. He grew up in Waukegan, Illinois. Snipes at 21-0 with 11 knockouts.
Snipes opening up as he said he would, circling around, trying to get away from Coetzee. Coetzee doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Try to cut him off, drop the right hand in, there it goes. It's a very small ring, and these are huge men.
It is the minimum of 18 feet, which, as we mentioned earlier, should be all in favor of Eddie Coetzee.
And it has a very spongy surface instead of felt that has foam rubber under it, and the fighters are sinking into it, which is very good for Coetzee.
Coetzee to the body.
Coetzee looking to do his homework early. That powerful right hand of Coetzee's to the body.
Coetzee has made a strong recovery since sustaining a serious fracture of that right hand earlier in his career, an injury he re-aggravated in a successful operation, repaired the shattered hand.
Gave rise to the term the bionic fist. And he certainly has a powerful right hand.
Coetzee loves to talk to his opponents in the ring, and he's been doing that here in the first round.
In this case, I think it doesn't make much difference because nobody can understand him.
Oh, right hand by Snipes. I should say by Coetzee, and both Coetzee and Snipes ended up lunging into the ropes.
This small ring is going to be a factor in this fight. It's all to Coetzee's favor. Snipes can't keep up this running around for 10 rounds. Coetzee is conserving his energy. He's not bounced once.
Tough body blow by Coetzee, and that stunned Snipes, who's had a difficult time here in the first round.
First round, it looks like a very nervous fighter against a very confident and secure fighter. Snipes doing something that's an absolute sin in boxing. That's closing his eyes when he gets punched at.
And Coetzee continues to stomp Snipes.
Snipes has to throw that right hand if he's going to keep him off. Snipes is throwing a very feeble left jab that's not doing anything at all to Coetzee. Coetzee is just measured.
Snipes is put down! Eddie Coetzee putting Renaldo Snipes down! Snipes told his corner he's all right. You saw the right hand of Coetzee. Final seconds, round number 1, and Snipes just looking to hang on. And this is round 2. Renaldo Snipes was put down in round number 1 and able to hang on. First time in his professional career that Snipes has been down.
And now Snipes knows he's got to fight Coetzee. He cannot just jive around with him. He's got to come in with everything he's got. That was a winging right hand that Snipes just threw. He's got to throw something hard at Coetzee.
His long suit is the jab. But as you mentioned earlier, Freddie, it's been all Coetzee who has been able to stalk and very calmly utilize his fight plan.
Looks like they butted head. Looks like there's a little blood above the right eyebrow of Snipes. Renaldo Snipes with a little blood showing above the right eyebrow.
Right hand by Snipes did not have any damaging effect on Coetzee. We are 1 minute in, round 2. Eddie Coetzee of South Africa has already put Renaldo Snipes down in the first round.
At this stage, the class of each fighter is showing. Coetzee has been in championship competition twice. Snipes, this is his biggest fight. He's tentative, he's scared.
And Coetzee hitting and holding on the break. And warned by the referee, Joe Cortez.
And that's called protect yourself at all times. That's what I'm talking about in the difference in class. Snipes should know better. He should not look to the referee for protection.
This is the start of a big day of sports here on NBC. Baseball makes its return with the All-Star game tonight, starting at 8 o'clock. And we'll be going to Cleveland during the course of NBC Sports World for All-Star updates with Brian Gumbo. He'll be chatting with National League All-Star third baseman Mike Schmidt, Kansas City manager, and the manager of the American League All-Stars, Jim Fry. Left hand by Snipes.
Snipes has got to put something in there and get brave. He's overreacting, too scared to these punches.
And Coetzee and Snipes tie each other up as the referee Cortez breaks the fighters again. Raised up by Coetzee, and Snipes nearly went down for the second time.
Coetzee is just measuring him. He's just waiting to drop that right hand in. Unless Snipes can put some hurt on Coetzee, he's in for a long or maybe a short afternoon.
And we are now final seconds. Round 2. Scheduled for 10. Another vicious left hand by Coetzee.
There are a lot of...
All right, Ferdy, here is that first round knockdown by Eddie Coetzee.
Powerful hook. There it is. That's a left hook that got him down. It's a legitimate knockdown. I don't think he'll recover from that right now.
And we are on to round 3. Undefeated Renaldo Snipes at 21-0. Looking scared right from the start.
Too tentative. He's overreacting to punches. He's drawing back, which makes Coetzee able to go forward with another punch and catch him.
That time Coetzee not able to land off the split move by Snipes. Right hand by Snipes. Now the crowd responding, but Coetzee comes right back.
Coetzee has absolutely no regard for Mr. Snipes. He just took a right hand flush on the chin.
Again, Snipes tries the roundhouse right, and it does not connect.
Well, that's the outer edges of desperation when you hit a guy with your best right hand shot and it doesn't even move.
Left hand by Coetzee was able to land. Now Snipes had Coetzee for an instant in the corner. Looks like he cut Coetzee. Slight cut.
Snipes is beginning to recover from that first round knockdown. He's beginning to fight a little bit harder now. And that's what he's got to do, go toe-to-toe and gamble.
Snipes the beautiful roundhouse for Ray. Halfway point, round 3. Coetzee looking to measure Snipes with the left hand. Right hand by Coetzee. And again, Snipes was hurt.
And the only thing that Snipes has going for him right now is youth and the hope that Coetzee will wear out as he's done in other fights. Because make no mistake, he's blown the first 2 rounds big.
All right, Albert, now the fight doctor, Bernie Pacheco. We're at the new Westchester Theater, Tarrytown, New York. Scheduled for 10. And Eddie Coetzee again loading up. And that time, able to land with the left hand.
Picture-perfect combination. Shot to the body, shot to the head. Now he's out there plugging away.
Snipes walked into that one after missing another round.
Away.
I think people who smoke are real losers.
Coetzee, the 26-year-old out of South Africa, looking to put himself right back in the title picture. Back in June of 1979, came up with that shocking first-round knockout of the one-time heavyweight champion, Leon Spinks. Then October of 79, Fort John Tate lost by decision in South Africa. Eddie Coetzee is the time here in the United States with Hetty.
Must be happy today.
Coetzee also fought Mike Weaver for the title and was knocked out in the 13th round, put out for only the first time in his professional career. Has not fought much recently. Last bout in March, unanimous decision over George Chaplin. This has turned into a brawl here in round 4.
The question here is going to be stamina. If Snipes can survive past round 5, that's a question that we've got to answer. Right now he's fighting fairly. Here he goes.
And down he goes for the second time. Hetty Coetzee again unleashing the right hand.
He's in bad shape, Mark. This time he's got too many minutes to go. Too much time.
We're approaching halfway mark. Round 4. Renaldo Snipes put down for the second time by Hetty Coetzee.
Coetzee just put the laces right in his face. That wasn't nice.
Body shot delivered by Snipes after he slipped the punch thrown by Coetzee.
Snipes fighting back, just got enough left, and that's bad news because if he stands back there and doesn't grab him for the rest of the round, he will suffer a knockdown. No question, Coetzee is just measuring, just waiting for the bionic fist to make a connection with a non-bionic jaw. Snipes should be grabbing and holding right now, waiting for his head to clear. He's in awfully bad shape, Mark. He has no reflexes left. He is weak.
And a cut under the right eye of Renaldo Snipes.
Coetzee very patiently waiting for him.
And that's the way he opened up in the first round.
He's waiting for that right hand.
Again, Snipes attempts the roundhouse. That'll be ruled a slip.
That is a definite slip. That was not a punch. It serves to kill time. There's 10 seconds.
So Snipes will last out the round again.
There are a lot.
And this is round 5. Hetty Coetzee has put down Renaldo Snipes on 2 occasions in the 4th round and in the 1st round. Let's take a listen to what took place in the corner of Renaldo Snipes a moment ago as we watch the action.
Hey, you listen to me? Listen to me. You can box now. You can dance. You're too good for it. How you feeling here tonight? All right, man. I asked him 3 times, man. Thank you, Ralph. You're too good a boxer to stand there and slug with the palm. Move, stick, set it up. Don't get in a hurry. It'll come. Bring your hands straight back in the jack.
Sounds like desperate words in the corner of Renaldo Snipes.
That's the only thing you can do in the corner is give him hope and send him back out. Right now, Snipes is letting go with that big roundhouse punch, and every time he does that, Coetzee measures him with a little tight shot on the inside that really kills Snipes. He should forget that long overhand right. Wait till his head clears up. He's still fighting in the fall. If there was ever a rap on Coetzee, it's what's happening right now. He's got a fighter just on the verge of a knockout. He doesn't have the killer instinct to go get him. He's waiting to counterpunch. He should be out there leading.
And the lunging left by Snipes after Coetzee was able to slip.
You got to give Renaldo Snipes credit. He's got the guts. He's coming on. He's the one that was hurt. He's coming on being the aggressor.
And that a question mark concerning Snipes' career because he has yet to be tested. That is until today.
Well, it's a big crossroads for Mr. Snipes. He's been through 2 before, but this one's really a big hill to climb now.
Again, the measuring by Coetzee. And Snipes continues to slip. Less than a minute remaining in round 5.
Snipes takes his eyes off Coetzee when he ducks down. That's a terrible thing to do. You got to watch it. Oh, great shot by Snipes. Great hook by Snipes.
He tried to load up on the right, but could not connect. He was encouraged by that left hand. And we have tremendous action here in round 5. Snipes looking to rally on Coetzee.
Snipes chasing Coetzee as if the roles were reversed. It's incredible.
And that will do it for round 5, by far Snipes' best.
And now we see in a replay that terrific connecting shot. Whang, right to the back of the head. But you see, they tie each other up. There's no action following one punch. Now let's go back to Coetzee's corner, or Snipes' corner, rather. Here's Coetzee's corner. You can't understand anything because they're speaking in Dutch. It sounds like Hitler addressing the Reichstag.
And this is round 6. Renaldo Snipes with a rally in the 5th round. He's been put down twice by Coetzee.
And this is the Snipes crowd. They come up to their feet every time the bell rings. They're expecting big things from Mr. Snipes.
Snipes, who came out very awkward and very tentative, showing signs of confidence in the last couple of rounds.
Because Coetzee has decided to stand.
With the hook, was able to land on that fastball.
That's the way he's got to fight. He's got to take a chance, let it all fly. He may get hit, but he's got to take a chance on it.
And now it's Coetzee tying up Snipes.
Again, let me remind you that Coetzee wears out in the later rounds. Mr. Snipes is young and strong.
Coetzee looking to measure Snipes as he cornered him. And you have to wonder if Coetzee is not able to land the knockout punch about the ring rust. He has not fought that frequently.
That's certainly a factor right now. Snipes, for the first time, won a round in 5 tries. The first 4 went to Coetzee. So he still has a chance.
Now that's according to our NBC scorecard. Marv Albert, Bernie Paterno from the New Westchester Theater, Tarrytown, New York, with some 35 miles out of New York City, and the crowd all Renaldo Snipes, who is now fighting out of Yonkers, New York.
The difference in this fight seems to be that Coetzee can put out Snipes with one shot, whereas Snipes is not going to put out Coetzee with one shot. So you're sitting here looking at a guy facing a loaded gun.
Now Snipes going to the jab. That's his most effective weapon.
He's in a corner. He's going to get out.
Less than a minute remaining in round 6.
He's able to walk Coetzee out of the corner, which he shouldn't be able to.
Snipes walked into a left hand that time.
Coetzee seems in slow motion compared to Snipes now, who's really picking up steam. With every round, he seems to be getting braver. What an amazing comeback for a guy that's been twice in 2 legitimate knockdowns.
It was put down on the first, and then put down on the fourth by Coetzee. And we're final seconds of round 6.
World.
Let's listen in on the corner of Coetzee. And this is round 7. Renaldo Snipes, who has been put down twice by Coetzee, coming on strong in rounds 5 and 6.
Remember that this is on a round basis. Supplemental point system per round. By rounds, there's no question that Snipes has a chance. By points, he's way behind. So if we go by rounds, as it is in New York, he still has a good chance. And he's getting stronger.
The referee and the 2 judges score. And the scoring is on that round basis. Judges Carl Castellano and Nick Gamboli.
And remember that while it doesn't make much difference, Snipes is before a wild hometown audience here. This is the area where he made his reputation. These are his fans. Much action this round, Mark.
It's the first low-key sequence that we
Referee doing a good job. He's got two very big men to handle, and he's a small man himself.
That is Joe Cortez breaking the fighters against.
They're both showing signs of weariness.
Again, Coetzee trying to measure Snipes.
Jabs to the body by Snipes, unanswered by Coetzee. Coetzee having trouble finding that bouncing ball. The head of Snipes is hard to find all of a sudden.
Found it earlier, but Renaldo successful in slipping punches, slipping that right hand.
I think Snipes was way too tight at the beginning of this fight. He wasn't loose. He's now loose. He's fighting. He finds out that if he moves, he can fight and not get hit. Now he's loose. Now he's almost relaxed. Whereas before he was tight as a drum.
Start of a big day of sports here on NBC. Baseball making its way back, and right off the bat, one of the season's highlights, the 52nd annual All-Star Game. Of course, the game's greatest fans, Pete Rose and Rod Carew. Fernando Valenzuela will start for the National League. Reggie Jackson will be there. That's all tonight. Starting at 8 o'clock on NBC. We are final seconds, round 7, scheduled for 10, and we'll be back in a moment. And back in Tarrytown, New York, Marv Albert and the fight doctor, Bernie Pacheco. Round 8, and as we watch the action, let's listen to the corner of Renaldo Snipes.
Snipes, don't keep your head down. Are you listening to me? Don't keep your head down. No, he comes back with the uppercut. Stick and move. Stick and move. Okay? When you hit with the right.
That's Renaldo Snipes' stepfather, the Reverend Jimmy Williams, saying don't keep your head down. Uppercut by Coetzee got in.
Coetzee danced off his feet throwing a jab like the old Floyd Patterson flying through the air jab, and then threw an uppercut. What a strange combination. Had he been caught in the middle of that, he'd have landed in South Africa. Snipes coming on, but Coetzee is still ahead.
Good right hand followed by the left by Snipes, who has come back a long way. Looked to be an early exit for Renaldo Snipes, the way this one got underway.
Well, Renaldo has shown all the guts that we thought he had, and he's certainly shown a come back into it spirit. His recuperative powers are amazing.
Snipes at 21-0 with 11 knockouts. That record according to Ring Magazine. Coetzee at 24-2 with 13 knockouts.
It's the kind of punch that can carry around for you. What a winger.
And Snipes got hit on the way with the right hand by Coetzee, who goes right back at Snipes.
That's the danger of those winging punches. When you miss, you can get hit. I think Renaldo got hit and felt it to his toes. Renaldo should tie him up now. He got hurt by that counterpunch of Coetzee.
Perhaps the toughest city in which to find a hotel room in this country tonight is Cleveland. That's highly unusual because
the crowd chanting for Renaldo Snipes. We are halfway through the 9th round, scheduled for 10. Left hand by Snipes, not much effect on that one. Left hand by Coetzee.
They're balling inside. They're doing everything. There's laces, there's elbows, there's forearms. They're just playing football inside here.
Snipes trying to reach was shaken up by that last counter by Coetzee.
I think Coetzee was shaken by that tremendous overhand right, but he came back. When Snipes missed his overhand right, he got hit. And he's been trying to work his way out of it ever since.
Under a minute left. Nice round. Snipes put down in round 1 and 4. Able to come back strong. Hand by Snipes, but that time Coetzee was able to work it out. And both Coetzee and Snipes now suffering from fatigue.
Very sloppy right then. But that's what Snipes needs to survive this round.
Snipes' left eye appears to be on the verge of closing.
He should forget those drawing punches.
And as you see, we are now final seconds, round 9.
When you
I got this fight.
we gotta win it big.
His best throw of the bout. And then unleashed the left hand in the previous round, round number 9. A look at Mark McCurrow, boxing writer for the Gannett newspaper chain and president of the International Boxing Writers Association.
Over 150 writers in this new organization. It may be a new force in boxing. Last round.
All right, 10th and final round.
And this is truly up in the air, Mark. This is truly one of those fights where this round can decide it.
Particularly about Snipes, who has leveled his fighting virtually in his hometown.
If he can suck it up now, if he can have a great last round, he's got a great chance.
It's Coetzee stalking Snipes. Let's see, that was a slip. Coetzee was shut down by Snipes.
Odyssey, he threw a left hook as he got up and he hit Snipes, who was waiting for him to get up. Again and again, you see, protect yourself at all times. Come to the fore in boxing.
Good body blow by Coetzee.
Snipes has come back just as he looks like he's losing points. He saves it for those big punches. He's getting brave.
Another left hand by Snipes.
That's what he needs. Harry's still waiting. Coetzee still waiting to land that one leveler.
Minute gone by. 10th and final round. It's been bombs away from the start. Eddie Coetzee putting Snipes down on 2 occasions. First round and again on the 4th. But Snipes coming on very strong and I'm sure very much distant around the country.
And now Snipes showing extreme fatigue. As Coetzee leans all over and tries to take advantage.
Snipes continues to try and connect with the roundhouse windmill right hand.
That's won him a lot of points. I guess he wants to stick with it, but he gets killed every time he misses it.
Right hand by Snipes followed by the left as Coetzee counters to the head. And we approach 1 minute left in this 10th and final round.
Both fighters trading punches evenly. When you think one guy has the advantage, the other guy comes in. It has been ranging in a heavyweight fight.
Seconds left. 10th and final. Renaldo Snipes with the unbeaten record on the line at 21-0. Eddie Coetzee looking to make it back from inactivity. The man who was fought on 2 occasions for the heavyweight championship came out very strong. But Snipes carrying the fight in the final round.
Snipes just made one heck of a fight of this, but I think the edge is Coetzee. He's dropped him twice, and he's finishing much, much stronger.
Final second, 10th and final round, and this one will go the distance. That is it. So we will go to a decision. The referee and the 2 judges involved in that decision, the scoring on a round basis with the supplementary point system if there's a draw. Back with the decision.
Here comes Johnny.
Flavor. All right, They're checking the scorecards. Let's go to the ring. And we'll hear the decision from the ring announcer, Frank Shane.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the voting of the officials. Carol Castellano scores it 3 rounds Snipes, 6 rounds Coetzee, 1 round even. Judge Nick Gamboli scores it 5 rounds Snipes, 4 rounds Coetzee, 1 round even. Referee Joe Cortez scores it 5 rounds Snipes, 3 rounds, 4 rounds even, 4 rounds Coetzee, 1 round even. The winner by majority decision, Renaldo Snipes.
Absolute.
Well, that's one that we've talked about for some time. We had it Coetzee with a close win over Renaldo Snipes.
Designed for your... Well, it's getting... the targets are... Hey, things are flying.
He has upset Hilly Coetzee in a controversial decision. Let's go to the ring. Here's
Well, as you can see, the debris is flying. It was not a popular decision. You had a tough fight. We had expected a tough fight. He came in shape at 222. I expected a tough fight. Well, did you get...
The experts, the...
First 2 knockdowns. The man can punch hard. Anybody hit, you're knocked down. All right, were you willing to give this guy a rematch? That was an even fight. I'll give him a rematch anytime. Anytime you want a rematch, I'll fight him. I'm going for the championship. All right, we are...
for the title.
All right, Renaldo, good luck. We're not going to leave for your own safety. Things are flying. There's no sense in you getting hit any more than you've already been. Thanks a lot.
Hello to my friends, Doc.
She is amazing.
to the far left, the referee Joe Cortez. First of all, Marvin.
And the question is, can he weather that early storm and then use his conditioning and his experience to come on in the late rounds? And can Matthew Hilton maintain his peak of performance and level of performance through those late rounds? He's never been a 15-round distance.
You heard the crowd responding there to the formal introduction of Hilton, who will get several ovations of this type and of this magnitude as events lead up to the opening bell. Again, if you've joined us late, it has been 44 years since Canadians have been able to appreciate a world boxing champion of their own. The last was a featherweight named Jackie Kalura, who held that title in 1943.
You hear the crowd booing the champion, Buster Drayton. Buster's used to this. He does not get intimidated by crowds. In fact, he's fought his last 4 fights since winning the title, including 2 title offenses in France. So coming to French-speaking Quebec is not any big change for Buster. He's used to being on the road. He's used to fighting the young hotshot. You see him smiling there. This is familiar territory.
Won the title in the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and then fought twice in Paris, once in Cannes and once in Juan-les-Pins. In the fight in Cannes, Alex, against Saad Skouma, Drayton was in trouble in round 9 and indeed trailed on all 3 official scorecards before he scored a TKO of Skouma in the 10th round. Could that have been seen as evidence that he is indeed pressing close to the end of the line, as you suggested at the top of the day?
It is evidence of that. It's not evidence that he's there yet, because he was able to recover it, never went down, took some hard punches from not a great fighter, but a hard punching fighter. Recovered, was in good enough shape, kept his legs, came back and knocked out the opponent in the next round, the 10th round. So he has great recuperative powers, but the more punches you take in the course of a career, the less recuperative powers you have to come back with.
Tail of the tape now, and you will see once again the dramatic contrast in age. Drayton 34, Hilton 21. There is a small height and reach advantage for Drayton, which will probably be nullified, at least in the early rounds, by Hilton's sheer aggressiveness. He'll come right at him. IBF rules synopsis. The fight is scheduled for 15 rounds, scoring on the 10-point must system, done by 3 judges with a non-scoring referee. 3 knockdown rule is in effect, and there will be mandatory 8 counts, but there are no standing 8 counts. The referee is Denny Nelson of Minnesota, and 2 of the judges are from the United States. The 3rd is from Canada. The bell sounds. Round 1 begins.
You might have noticed Matthew shaking his arms in the corner before he came out. He said all week it hasn't hit him yet that he's fighting for a world title. But he looked to me in the ring with all the pressure of this crowd and the fans of Canada on him. He looked a little bit tight. He looked to be shaking his arms, trying to get himself loose. Both these men, one young, one old, like to have a feeling out first half of the first round. They don't need to need the whole first round. Matthew likes to take his time early and then come on late.
Crowd chanting Matthew, Matthew. Wild right misses.
You will see a lot of wild rights from both these men. The important thing is they don't get discouraged when they miss. Buster Drayton will throw 10 punches just to land 4. And he won't shorten up his punches. He won't sacrifice power for accuracy. These guys just throw bombs.
Hilton missed with the left hook, but scored twice to the body there. The right to the body connected. And now Drayton begins to fend Hilton off with the jab.
Which is not a punch that Buster has as a regular part of his arsenal, but he's just picking with it. Just trying to let Matthew know that it's there.
Oh, what a right hand! A sensational combination by Matthew Hilton. And referee Denny Krause issues the count.
That's the right hand that Matthew Hilton is not supposed to have. He caught Buster Drayton flush with it, and Buster Drayton is in desperate trouble.
More than a minute to go in round 1. Drayton trying to get his senses back. Uppercut inside, connected.
Solid, devastating right hand to the body a few seconds ago by Matthew.
Good left hook to the ribs.
Buster's not firing back. He's trying to cover up. He is not clinching. Buster Drayton does not clinch, even when he's in trouble.
The assault by Hilton continues. 34 seconds to go in the round.
Hilton's still hurt, but Matthew has not hit him with that clean shot. He has to hit him, I think, with one solid shot or maybe a combination to get him out of there. And I don't think at this time, late in the first round, he has the time left to do it.
Drayton effective there with the peekaboo as he seems to have weathered the storm. Hilton tried to get through it with the uppercut, couldn't quite get it done.
There's
but
the bell.
Spectacular first round for 21-year-old Matthew Hilton. And now Bobby Boogaloo Watts will go to work to try to revive Buster Drayton in his corner. Let's take another look, Alex, at that combination which delivered Buster Drayton to the mat.
Watch for the right hand. Boom! Left hand underneath, the right hand right on the button. Matthew Hilton must have tremendous power. He's knocked a lot of people out, but he hasn't knocked out anybody with the gin and the experience of Buster Drayton, and especially to put him down this early with one punch. He is really an accomplishment.
Well, the phrase in the sport is heavy hands, and it has been said of Hilton that he has it. Another angle.
You saw the left of the body was a distraction. The right hand really did all the work.
The young man knows his business. He didn't pause to watch Drayton fall. He walked right to a neutral corner. Round 2 begins.
We said at the top it was a matter whether Buster could weather the storm. We saw some storm in round 1. Matthew has to be careful to make his punches count. Not get knocked out happy, not waste energy.
Obviously, Watts told Drayton he'd have to mount some offense to try to keep Hilton off of him.
Interesting, Jim. Matthew did not come out quick in this round. He had his man hurt with a full minute to go in round 1. But here you see him, the crowd whistling a little bit. You see him almost did the first half of round 1. Left to the body. Drayton trying to cover.
Both shots partially blocked by the elbows. Drayton is having to become very conscious of the body. There is Jean Hilton, mother of Matthew, matriarch to the Hilton boxing family.
Matthew Hilton has a reputation as somebody who's very easy to hit, but Buster Drayton hasn't been able to land anything of consequence thus far. Picking away with a few jabs, but Buster Drayton is fighting in his typical style. He is winging wide, arcing punches like that one, especially with the right hand.
Got the jab through. Matthew delivering each shot with purpose, and the left to the body wobbled Drayton again.
Wobbled him, but he's still smiling and still throwing punches, and a good right hand landed by Drayton, and Matthew fights right back.
Good left hand by Matthew Hilton as he backed away. Drayton scored a body shot.
Again, Matthew taking some time off and ceased putting the pressure on. He knows best what's going on with his own body. He may be a little bit tired, may sense himself. He knows this is a 15-round distance, whether he's going to go that far or not. It's an intimidating thing.
Another right hand to the chin of Drayton, and again he seemed temporarily wobbled. Oh, what a left to the body.
Good right hand landed by Drayton in that exchange. One thing this fight is not going to be is a jabbing contest. You just saw both fighters try him. It is probably the least effective punch for each of them.
It has been 2 rounds of bombs away, with the early edge definitely going to 21-year-old Matthew Hilton. And Matthew Hilton fighting before his family in his hometown of Montreal.
4 or 5 punches from Buster Drayton. Some landed. Matthew covered pretty well, and they came out with a bomb of his own.
In case you've just joined us, Drayton was down in round 1, midway through, and weathered a vicious assault to make it out of that round. Looked a little bit perkier in round 2, but still, Hilton dominated most of the round with heavy body shots. Defending a title in 100% hostile territory here today. Only in his own corner will Drayton find support. I'd like to alert our local stations that at the end of this round, we will go to a station break. And Matthew Hilton has definitely slowed the pace since that wild slugfest in round 1.
He seems to be gathering himself. He seems to be facing himself and also gathering himself. Both fighters very cautious. I think each man has felt the other's power, and they're much less reluctant to take the chances they would take against a lesser punching opponent.
1 minute to go in round 3, which has been far and away the slowest stanza of the bout.
Both fighters trying punches to the body and succeeding there. That time, Matthew tried the left hook to the body, and Buster tried to counter with the right hand. That would be an obvious punch. Matthew, and there, 4 punches to the body.
Trying to come over the top with the right the way he did in round 1. Interesting that Drayton has not yet elected to turn southpaw.
It is interesting, Jim, because Mickey Duff and the people in Buster Drayton's corner saw Matthew Hilton at a 10-round fight fight in Madison Square Garden last year, in which he looked, fighting a fairly ordinary fighter, the only left-hander, looked like he was having trouble with the left-hander. Buster switches very fluidly. I'm surprised, too.
We'll return with more of ABC Sports Schlitz Malt Liquor Pro Boxing after this from your local station. And as round 4 begins, Matthew Hilton continues to try to build on the lead he's established in the first 3 rounds against IBF junior middleweight champ Buster Drayton.
The fight has really slowed considerably. There are those occasional explosions.
Drayton landing a right hand on the face of Hilton there.
But as we said last round, it looks like both fighters have felt the other's power, and they're just not ready to leave the other man punching opportunities by trying punches of their own.
Just to pick up on the point that you were talking about at the end of the last round, Alex, Drayton's people did believe, after having seen Matthew Hilton against Cheto Ramos in New York last year, that he might have more difficulty assaulting a southpaw than a conventional fighter. And Drayton does switch well. He did it a lot in his championship-winning effort against Santos. It's a good defense against the left hook. He hasn't done it here.
Buster is a sparring partner for marvelous Marvin Hagler, who obviously switches, as you know, so beautifully and so fluidly. You almost don't notice the switching when he does to the right-handed stance in Marvin's case. Buster has the same capacity to switch. I think he's just concentrating right now on doing everything he can to stay out of the range, not thinking offensively as much as he is defensively right now. And trying to get out of these early rounds and let Matthew Hilton get tired.
2 minutes have now gone by in a very tentative round 4. Far different complexion now for the fight than that which existed in rounds 1 and 2. It was an all-out war. And now it's Hilton who goes down.
No, that will not be called a knockout, I'm sure. He'll just be comfortable pushing him down with his right hand.
Okay. No knockdown.
Low blow and no warning from the referee by Matthew Hilton. Well below the belt, and that is not the first one. There, for a second, Buster Drayton had his right foot forward in the left-handed stance, but immediately went right back. Good right uppercut by Buster.
Even though Hilton was not counted for a knockdown, you can see that Drayton has begun to score much more effectively now in the latter stages of round 4 than at any previous time in the bout. 4 rounds completed. We'll be back. Scheduled 15-round bout begins. A bout dominated early by the 21-year-old challenger in the Stuart Plaid trunks, Matthew Hilton. In the latter part of round 4, Drayton began to pick up the pace, and Alex, for the first time in the fight, I scored round 4 in favor of Buster Drayton.
Well, I thought Matthew dominated what little effective punching there was early in the round. Buster scored a couple of good shots late. You have to think right now that Matthew Hilton, there's power for the first time since round 1.
Another low blow.
And Matthew this time smiled. You hit me, I'll hit you, and we'll find out who's got the more power. Watch your head, says Buster. You can hit me with your punches, just don't butt me. Matthew let Buster back into this fight. He may still come on, he may still have the conditioning and the stamina to stay with Buster and perhaps stop him in the late rounds and continue to score and win rounds if the fight should go to a decision. But he let his man off the hook and he let Buster Drayton back in this fight. He may have just felt himself fading, getting tired from the effort that he expended in that first round.
Again, Hilton smiles at Drayton after taking the right hand.
They are smiling. This is not fun.
You hear Bobby Boogaloo Watts, Drayton's trainer, screaming from his corner. If the name is familiar, of course, it's because he's one of 3 fighters ever to have defeated Marvin Hagler, along with Willie the Worm Monroe and, of course, the recent victor, Ray Leonard.
is dominated by the body punching, he's going to throw more. The referee has been non-existent in terms of controlling that. Again, Matthew putting on a big spurt. Can he sustain it? Can he sustain it? And I think that's the key to the fight. Here in the closing seconds of round 5, he looks a little tired.
But because of those flurries inside to the body, it has again been a Hilton round. As Matthew Hilton seeks to become Canada's first world boxing champion in 44 years. We'll be back. Round 6 in Montreal. Buster Drayton trying to impose his will on a fight which he appeared to be out of in round 1 and for a while even in round 2, but in which in recent rounds he started to give a better account of himself.
The thing that has kept Buster in this fight is conditioning. He is such an avid conditioner that he wants to go right back into the gym the day after he's had a fight. And his manager and trainer, Ivan Cohen and Boogaloo Watts, have to hide this equipment to keep him out of the gym. He says, it takes me all day to try to borrow some.
And of course, at age 34, 154 is the natural weight for Drayton. Hilton lands the right.
That's a slip, and Buster hit him when he was down, and Buster knows it. That right hand shake by Buster Drayton was trying to acknowledge some kind of apology to Matthew Hilton. He knew he made a mistake in hitting when he was down. It did not appear to be a powerful punch. You see Matthew bouncing now, but not punching. Redness around the right eye of Matthew Hilton.
And in fact, a touch of blood under the right eye of Matthew Hilton. Could be that there's a small cut there. First time in the fight that he's been marked. Drayton can see it.
You remember back to Buster Drayton's first title defense against Davey Moore. Lost a lot of early rounds, took punishment early, but he just hangs in there. He's tough. He's been through all those wars in the Philly gyms. He's sparred with, as you look at Davey Hilton Jr. there, Matthew's brother, an outstanding welterweight contender who just has not had the self-discipline to continue his career. Hopes to resume it soon.
Indeed, some here say that Davey is a more talented fighter than Matthew.
I was saying about Buster Drayton, he just has so much heart and so much determination that you're just not going to get him out of there with that one big bomb that Matthew landed in round 1. You got to be prepared to fight 15 tough rounds or less. He lost early rounds against Davey Moore, came back to knock his man out in round 10.
And indeed, some of Matthew's caution in the ensuing rounds may have come from the fact that most of his opponents would not have recovered from that first round assault. In fact, it might be safe to guess that none of them would have. Round 6 comes to a close, about increasingly more even, and we'll be back.
Jim, I still don't believe this fight's going the distance, but you have to think through 6 rounds, you have to start to consider scoring. I think Matthew Hilton obviously won a big 10-8, maybe even a 10-7 round in the first round. He won the second fairly easily. The rounds got considerably closer, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you have to be very careful in scoring a Buster Drayton fight because he takes away a lot of a punch with his elbows, with his shoulder, turns his head away from a punch. That right hand, for instance, he deflected it with his left glove. You have to watch Buster Drayton very, very carefully to be aware of what punches he's getting hit with. Matthew throws an awful lot of punches in his flurries. You have to watch carefully to see which ones land.
That cut under Matthew Hilton's right eye is a tiny nick. Nothing serious for now.
He has a tendency to cut, Matthew. But that cut is under the eye and will not be a factor. I think really the key thing here for Matthew is conditioning and stamina. He looks to be a little bit intimidated by the 15-round distance.
Well, I was mentioning before that clearly 154 is Drayton's natural weight. But in his last fight against Muhammad El Tassi 2 months ago, Matthew fought at 162 pounds.
such hard punches, and he misses a lot of punches, and a punch that you miss takes more out of you than a punch that lands. He's always had a tendency to tire after one of his big flurries and have to gather himself and come back.
Indeed, of the 21 knockouts, 18 of them have come before or during the 6th round. Only 3 knockouts from this distance on. And certainly none against an opponent like Buster Drayton.
And I think Buster Drayton, we're talking about tactics here, I think Matthew let Buster off the hook in the 2nd round. I think Buster would be good to put more pressure on Matthew Hilton right now. Except for those occasional flurries, I think Matthew is content to take off 2 minutes and 30 seconds a round. And Buster Drayton should be making him fight in that time, taking the stamina out of him. Buster is content right now to fight just when Matthew wants to fight or respond to Matthew fighting. He should be trying to land punches.
Round 7 has gone by rather quickly. And as it comes to a close, Hilton tries one more time to land the big punch. Davey Hilton Sr. was urging his son to deliver more body shots to Buster Drayton. Drayton is not the kind of fighter of whom you say he doesn't like it to the body. I think maybe the Hiltons just don't want Matthew to be throwing the wild, flailing shots at the head like the ones with which he ended the last round.
You see Matthew bouncing here, Jim. Buster Drayton should be jumping on him when he's bouncing. He can't punch when he's bouncing around. He's not that kind of a fighter. He's a weighed-in guy, sets his feet, lets his punches go. Whenever he starts that bouncing, he's trying to take time off the clock. He's putting his own stall in that we talked about we didn't expect to see in this fight. But in fact, it has happened. That's when Buster should come on like this. Now, Matthew's going to explode. No, he didn't. Buster should be putting more pressure on him.
But you make a good point. Early in the fight, Hilton followed each Drayton assault with a more vicious assault of his own. That time, he simply stood back up and waited for more.
Let's go!
Bobby Watts yelling at Buster Drayton.
Let's go, Buster!
Crowd trying to pick Hilton up.
There you go, now we're working. Come on back.
Matthew missed the left hook. Buster tried to counter with the right hand and missed it. That's a pattern that I thought we'd see a lot more of in this fight. Matthew missing the left, throwing the left, and Buster countering with his right. Here's Buster picking up the pace a little bit. And Matthew responding with 5 or 6 punches to the body.
I want to alert our local stations that we'll go to a station break at the end of this round. The 8th round of a scheduled 15 in Montreal for the IBF World Junior Middleweight title. You've got the oldest current title holder in the sport against a young man who could become the 3rd youngest existing champion in the sport if he can win. Of course, the youngest existing champion in boxing is Mike Tyson.
You just hear the power in those Hilton body shots. There still appears to be bounce, as you saw there in the Drayton legs at age 34, perhaps plus. But those body shots have to have an effect. The left to the body. And again low, and again nothing from the referee except to break the clinch.
Not a word from Denny Nelson in the bout about low blows, of which there have been dozens.
And there was one from Drayton.
The slugfest continues. We'll return with more of ABC Sports Slits Malt Liquor Pro Boxing after this from your local station. Exactly what you've been suggesting, Alex.
He just is fighting the pace that Matthew wants to fight. He's letting Matthew dictate the pace. He'll try to respond when Matthew does something, but in between, when Matthew's taking time off, he just isn't putting pressure on. He has to put pressure on, or his championship is going to slip away from him.
That's precisely what Bobby Boogaloo Watts and Mickey Duff told him. He'd worked too hard to earn the title to let it slip away this easily. Now Drayton starts to try to turn it up. And again, here comes Hilton to the body.
Thunderous punches with both hands. I think Matthew's right hand, which used to loop, he used to really not put that right hand right down the pipe, has become a much better weapon for him, both to the body and, as we saw in round 1, to the head. physical resources at this stage of his career to turn up the burners.
Indeed, because he's 34, Hilton was regarded as being fortunate to get this title shot. He probably wouldn't have wanted to put him in with McCallum, who will fight Donald Curry later this summer.
Now just very subtly, Buster Drayton just took a good punch to the head. Began to back up Matthew Hilton, but he couldn't sustain it. Matthew Hilton cannot fight backing up. And if Buster could consistently back him up, I think he could dominate the fight. But you saw Matthew stand his ground and reverse the trend.
We will be staying here between rounds, and we'll visit Buster Drayton's corner first. Drayton pins Hilton against the ropes for a moment, but then is driven away.
I know what you're trying to do, Jimmy, but you know what you got to do?
Listen to me now. Now you listen to me now. If you don't get busy, you can lose this
That's
fight.
right. And then
Because you're away from home.
That's right. You win when you got backyard.
That's what you got to do, what you got to give now. If you get cold, it's tough shit. You've got to work. You've got to work and shoot through the middle. You've got to fight to knock him out, not just to hit him with 2 set of bad punches.
You got to stop him.
Come on. Take your breath. Come on. Slow. Let it out slow. One more. Matty, when you back him up, pay attention. When you back him up, he's got no legs.
You can't do nothing. You got to keep him
You
going
got to
back.
come back, your right hand, but come back with your hook. You got it? Double up on punches.
You got to keep him going back all the time, son. Keep your hands up.
The man outside the ring was Al Braverman. The man inside the ring is David Hilton Sr.
And of course, there is no delicacy or gentility in the language in a boxing corner. Round 10 begins. Hilton with a clear lead on the 10-point must system. Drayton tries to turn up the heat again.
And you heard Buster's corner tell him he's got to knock him out. He's fighting away from home. He has to have a knockout to win. Round 10 may be a little bit early to make that decision, but they're trying to motivate Buster. They're trying to get him out there to throw power punches. Has thrown fewer power punches in this fight than I think I've ever seen in his career. He usually wings punches like that, hard punches, especially with his right hand. But I think that the right hand that Matthew Hilton landed in round 1 made him very leery of doing that. He just didn't want to give Matthew that kind of open punching opportunities in return. Good left hook by Drayton at the end of that combination. Very few of the early punches landed, Jim, but that finishing left hook did. And Matthew looking to clinch.
Drayton trying to come on a little bit now. We're midway through round 10. Incidentally, we remind you, coming up after Schlitz Malt Liquor Professional Boxing, ABC's Wide World of Sports today, the U.S. Outdoor Track and Field Championships live from San Jose, California. Also the Irish Derby. That's coming up next on Wide World. Most of these ABC stations. The track meet, incidentally, should be terrific.
Buster Drayton scoring for heavy punches for the first time in a while and putting punches together for the first time.
And he landed a solid right hand in there to go with the left he landed earlier.
Always a question in a fight like this how Matthew Hilton's chin is. He hasn't really been tested by big punchers. He seemed to take those punches pretty well, but he is very willing to clinch. Buster Drayton should be making him fight.
Hilton staggering just a little bit, more from fatigue than from the effect of Drayton's punches. But for the first time in the fight, Alex, to me, he looks really tired. Not just coasting, but very tired.
Matthew you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, he does look tired. He's taken more punches in this round than he has in any round previous. He's loading up for those bombs. It's just a matter of being able to sustain that kind of power.
The tide turning slightly. the challenger Matthew Hilton in the Stewart plaid trunks into round 11.
This is the first time that Matthew Hilton has ever seen the 11th round. For all Buster Drayton's long career, because he won the championship so late in his career, the only time he has gone 15 or past tenths was the fight he won the title in, the 15-round decision over Carlos Santos. Jim, at the end of 10 rounds, I have it 6-4 in rounds for Matthew Hilton. But remember, the first round was a 2-point round, so he is ahead 3 points at this stage. On my scorecard, entirely unofficially.
The same way. And that would mean, incidentally, if we happen to be in the neighborhood, that Drayton may not need a knockout. He could win the last 5 rounds. He might yet be able to retain the title on points.
That presumes that these judges have not been affected by this crowd here. Judges have eyes, they also have ears, they're also human. And it's possible they've seen it differently than we have.
It's also possible that somebody scored the first round 10-7.
That's correct.
Another low blow from Hilton. Met with a similar non-response from the referee to everything that's preceded it in the bout. To the body, which Hilton produced early in the fight, are gone. More and more, he seems to be trying to regain the impetus with just one punch, and that's probably not going to do it now.
You saw Matthew, you might have seen him just there when he shoved Buster back in the ropes. He blinked his eyes. He blinked his eyes in round when he came up for round 6. Also, you saw the heads meet right there. I don't know what that is. Drayton responding. Matthew trying to come back himself.
Another low blow. Hilton's starting to look exhausted.
He's able to gather himself, and he's able to flurry, and maybe steal rounds with these flurries, because the crowd reacts so loudly to them. But in terms of the actual action, he isn't able to fight much more than 45 seconds, a minute of each round. The key for Buster Drayton, if he wants to keep his title, is to dominate the other 2 minutes. Hold his own when Drayton's flurrying, cover up, and then come back after he misses and try to get after him and get on him when he's tired.
All right, now let's stay right here. And this time we'll go to Matthew Hilton's corner first.
Now you're cooking, boy, you're cooking. Give me that phone. Put that thing on. Stay still. You gotta bring it back, man. You gotta push it back. Put your tongue out. Forget that, Jimmy. Forget that. Back to the rope, throw up, but don't wind up on it. Lose our balance. Get off that combination. Throw him in bunches. Push him up. Get ready to say. You got 9 minutes. Hold his fucking hand. You got 9 minutes. The crowd. 9 minutes, Buster. 9 little minutes, man. When he's out there, you gotta push him off. And move that off. Okay, Buster. All right. Huh? Okay, please, man, but you gotta forget about it, but this is it.
Fascinating. They just told Drayton he's got 9 more minutes. Of course, he's got 12 more minutes if the fight goes the full 15 rounds. Have they miscounted Alex, or they might be conning him a little bit?
No, they're so busy trying to inspire Buster and get him aggressive and getting every ounce of energy after him. The calculation doesn't matter. The volume level does.
With the body again. He can do that early in a round with the surge of energy he gets from a 1-minute rest.
But it may have a lot to do with Buster's inability to generate any offense the rest of the round.
Every round that Hilton wins now is another nail in the coffin of Buster Drayton's World Championship.
Say to his son in the corner, don't wind up your punches so much. That would be a total change in the middle of a championship fight for his son. His son winds up his punches, as you can see there. That's his style. That's his strength.
But I do think Davey would like to see just a larger punch count, not the one punch at a time. It's been Hilton's situation for the past few rounds. Midway through round 12, and this has been Matthews' round so far. Another flurry to the body. Drayton not nearly as busy now as he was in rounds 9, 10, and 11.
Saw the Hilton strength as he just pushed Drayton back. He's backing him up. Now, you see Matthew is just trying to rest right now to get up the strength to throw that one punch. He's tired right now. If Buster Drayton himself had the strength, he could steal this round right now by putting out a big finish. After absorbing a lot of tremendous body punches and a first-round knockdown, it just may not be there for Buster Drayton.
Matthew Hilton has won round 12. He may now be just 3 rounds away from winning a world title. In Montreal, crowd rising to the occasion, beginning the round with the chant of Matthew, Matthew, Matthew. Exhausted 21-year-old Matthew Hilton, who appeared for a moment in the first round to be headed to a spectacular early knockout victory, now tries to finish up against 34-year-old champion Buster Drayton. IBF junior middleweight crown on the line. In case you've just joined us, we repeat, no native-born Canadian has held a world boxing championship since 1943. Matthew Hilton can win this fight today. This crowd will rise in spectacular and tumultuous support of him.
Drayton's hurt. Buster Drayton was hurt by that flurry. Short inside right hand by Buster Drayton. It's possible, Jim, that flurry here midway through round 13 clinched this fight for Matthew Hilton. It means that Buster Drayton would have to score a knockout to win, which he has to do on my scorecard. And it just doesn't look at this stage, unless Matthew gives out completely. He's tired here. It just doesn't look like Buster Drayton has the strength or the energy to be able to stop Matthew at this stage of the fight.
But if he can muster anything at all, it is by no means certain that Matthew Hilton is going to be able to stand up through 15 rounds. He's very tired. But I agree with you. On my card, Hilton has clinched the bout. Drayton has to score a knockout to win, the way I see it. Here comes Matthew again.
Buster Drayton, the crowd really is into it now. They think their man has it. If you want to look down the road at Matthew Hilton's career, this 21-year-old kid is going to have to learn to shorten up his punches. He's just throwing them too wide and too often and too predictable and telegraphing them too much. Some fighters are going to really take advantage of those defensive liabilities. Buster Drayton has not been able to do it today.
But what a learning experience this has been for Hilton today, who probably thought he was headed for the early knockout and has had to steel himself and fight an entirely different fight. We'll be back. Round 14 begins. Jim Lampley with Alex Wallow in the ring. Buster Drayton defending his title against Matthew Hilton, IBF World Junior Middleweight crown. And in a Montreal rabid for a
both fighters obviously are very tired. But stamina was really the key to this fight, in my mind, in terms of whether Matthew Hilton would be able to win a title.
What courage Drayton has shown just by absorbing these bombs to the body through 13 full rounds already.
With the jab, he isn't going to jab his way to a victory. He has to take halfway through round 14, and in the last round, he's going to have to throw bombs. He just tried one with the left.
Hilton leaving himself wide open when he throws those shots.
Really silly. The fighting spirit of Matthew Hilton taking over. It's a terrible strategy. I mean, he has to know, he has to feel, he has to sense. His corner has told him he has the fight. The last thing in the world you want to do is go out there, get in a toe-to-toe training contest, and risk getting hit by a lucky shot, especially when you're tired, as Matthew Hilton is.
But he's a violent competitor. He wants a knockout. It's his instinct to go for it.
He's a fighter, and I think that's what this fight has proved. Sometimes a young up-and-coming kid, a hot shot, sometimes gets put in with a lot of setups, and he never learns how to fight. You don't know how he's going to react when somebody takes his punch. Matthew Hilton found a guy who took his punch, got off the canvas, took him into the 14th round and perhaps the distance, and Matthew Hilton stood in there despite being bone tired at times and continue to try, as you say, for the knockout, Jim.
Low blow by Drayton. Very low blow. Seemed to bother Matthew a lot. Round 14 coming to a close. We'll stay here. 3 minutes to go.
Buster Drayton thinks this fight is over. You remember we gave a false count. I don't know whether Bobby Watts was deliberately giving him a false count to try to get him to go hard in round 14, or if Bobby Watts just miscounted. Buster Drayton thought the fight was over. He put his arm around Matthew Hilton and walked him back to his corner. He now knows he's got 3 more minutes.
First world champion in 44 years. He's got to stand up for 2 minutes and 45 more seconds. What a battle.
And again, Matthew not sitting on his lead. He is just wide open. But he's still trying to stop his opponent.
More spectacular demonstration of sheer courage and competitiveness on the part of 2 boxers. Both are completely spent.
Come on, man. Working all time.
Little left to throw. Hilton tries again for the knockout. Drayton of Philadelphia is a great gentleman. He will hold his championship for about 5 more seconds.
Le juge DeVito, 139, 139, 146, 146. Le juge Cormier, 140, 140, 144, 144. Le juge McDonough, 138, 138, 147, 147. Le gagnant par décision unanime et nouveau champion mondial des poids moyens juniors. The winner by unanimous decision and the new IBF junior middleweight champion of the world, Matthew Hilton from Rico, Quebec, Canada.
He's 21 and a half years old. He is Canada's first world boxing title holder since a featherweight named Jackie Kalura held that championship 44 years ago. There is a man of great grace and dignity who fought with great courage today and lost to a better fighter. Alex Wallow is in the ring, seeking to get a word with Matthew Hilton. There is a tremendous mob scene ongoing there. And now let's go to Alex right now.
Matthew, congratulations. When you knocked him down in the first round, Matthew, did you have any idea to go the distance?
I didn't expect you to go distance at all. My father thought that I could have knocked him out. After I knocked him down, I just got swinging for every punch and knockout.
Did you tire at that point? Did you deliberately pace yourself? Were you afraid about the 15 round?
I wanted to go for the knockout, but my father kept telling me, relax yourself, man. You're ahead, you're ahead.
In the final rounds, it looked like you were going for a knockout when you were clearly ahead, taking chances that weren't necessary. What was that about?
I'm a fighter.
That's right.
And unless my father's worried about it, he'll tell me, move. If he thinks I got to fight, because we don't know. My father's from the corner. If we think we didn't, if we're ahead, that doesn't matter. It's what the judges see. And me and my father full the dream here this afternoon. And we're one of the happiest guys in this world. And
congratulations, Matthew. Thank you very much.
I just like to thank ABC and all the supporters in Jersey and Vegas. And I just like to tell everybody we did it.
You did do it. Congratulations to you. Back to Jim
ABC
Lampley.
Sports. Thank you very much, Alex. Thanks to Matthew Hilton. ABC Sports presents Schlitz Malt Liquor Professional Boxing has been brought to you
from the Hemisphere Arena here in San Antonio, Texas. Cedric Kushner Productions Limited in conjunction with Rich Landers. KO Productions proudly presents today's main event of the afternoon. 12 rounds of boxing for the International Boxing Federation Super Flyweight Championship of the World. Your inspector for the IBF at ringside is Bob Lee Jr. Your 3 judges doing all the scoring from Houston, Texas, David McCullough. From Virginia Beach, Virginia, Jim Traylor. And from Copenhagen, Denmark, Torben Hansen. Your referee in charge of this afternoon's main event, ladies and gentlemen, from Houston, Texas, he is referee Barry Yates. And now, my good friends, fasten your seatbelts. It's time for the fist to fly. Introducing the principals first. Boxing to my left, out of the blue corner. He's the challenger. Undefeated as a professional with 23 consecutive wins. 17 of those wins coming by knockout. Wearing the black trunks with the red trim, weighing in at 8 stones, 3 pounds, 115 pounds. Originally out of Lagos, Nigeria, now living and training in the boxing capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, managed by the famous Billy Baxter. Ladies and gentlemen, the current North American Boxing Federation champion, I give you Kid Akeem Adabawashi. Boxing to my right, out of the red corner, he is the champion. Wearing the white trunks with the blood red trim, weighing in at 8 stones, 3 pounds, 115 fit, fighting and ready pounds. This young man, he too undefeated. Heavyweight Championship of the world.
The third man in the ring, and this crowd, I think, has been pumped to a limit to get ready for this one. As the champion Robert Quiroga fights the challenger Kid Akeem, as they both get ready to go for 12 rounds in the World Championship in the IBF.